Are we live? I believe we're live, right? Yes, we are. Ladies and gentlemen, howdy. I am, well, they call me, I like to call myself an opinionated, not an expert, but I have opinions on things. And it's been a while since I've been back on this channel. And, we're here now. And I just kind of want to shoot the breeze with all of you guys here today. I don't have any major topics to really go over because there's just so much going on in the world and so much drama and so much just chaos and craziness going on, man. And you really don't even know where to start when you think about it. I thought about changing the background. We've had this American flag in past previous videos. And I thought about switching it up to something more, I don't know. I thought about like changing the background to like an all black background and just being all blacked out and having like this, I don't know, like fog, like or mist kind of in the background a little bit, kind of, I don't know. It's kind of cool. Kind of fits my personality a little bit. Nonetheless, yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this channel. I've been thinking a lot about like the changes to do to it and stuff. And, I just been slacking quite a bit lately on the channel. And I was like, you know what? I got to get back into it because, I have so much on my mind and so many different things to talk about, and I feel like the last couple live streams that we've done in the past, have hit a little bit too much on the side of politics, and I wasn't really trying to push the politics all that much, but I was like, there's so much craziness going on in the world of politics, especially here in the United States, that I felt like it was a good thing to start out with. But what I've realized, yo, Mad Monkey, God bless America. Welcome. God bless you. How's it going? Welcome to the live stream. I like to use the sound effects here and there. Appreciate you, my man. Thank you. Man, sir, madam. I'm assuming you're a man, but I don't know that to be for certain. But anyway, I kind of look at the screen names and I'm like, I think that's a man. I don't know if that's a man, but I think that's a man. Anywho, but I appreciate you being here nonetheless. Thank you for that. At least thank you for coming by and saying hello. Thank you. It's been a minute. As I was saying, it's been a little while since I've been on this channel, and I blame myself obviously it's my fault why we haven't been live and haven't created much content on this channel, and I want to fix that. I really do. I want to fix that, and I want to start getting back into the swing of things, and get into just talking about just stuff. I kind of I have a lot on my mind, and I have a lot to say, and I felt like what better way to talk about the things I want to talk about anything and everything than starting a YouTube channel and talking about the politics and the drama and funny stuff that's going on, just anything and everything. Dawn's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, welcome. Yeah, it has been a minute. It has been a while. It's just, when you have a day job and you get home and you're motivated and you want to do it, but then you find yourself eating dinner, and then by the time you eat and it's still on your mind, but you're like, it's late now, and you got all this other stuff that you need to do in between, and you're just like, oh, by the end of the day, you're pooped. you're tired, you don't really feel like doing much. That's kind of been my whole, thing about this. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. Like I have to, like if I'm trying to do something with this, and I really do. And I think we have about 319 subs on the channel, which I'm very grateful for. And I think we've only lost in the last month, I think we've lost like 1 or 2, which is pretty good. Now I'm assuming that some of the people that come in and that have subscribed, God bless you guys. Thank you. You probably haven't really checked to see if I was live, or you don't have any notifications turned on. Then you probably wouldn't know. But nonetheless, we're here today and we're going to make the best of it. And I don't really have much of an agenda. Other than just, hitting the go live button and it's just kind of hanging out. You know what I mean? That's my goal for today. That's my comeback special for this channel here on the good old YouTube. Now, I will tell you, I did think about starting a social media for this, and I thought about changing the channel name to still keeping it Unofficially IMO, but I was going to turn it into Unofficially IMO TV, and the reason for the TV, a portion of it, is because it's like watching television, because you're going to talk about a lot of different things, and it's almost like turning on the news and watching it on TV or something like that, because I was sitting there thinking the other day, I'm like, man, in terms of like, just talk, like, should I change the name of the channel, or should I just keep it going? I'm like, nah, just keep it the way it is. Just be more dedicated, show up, put out more videos, and try to do something with it. Because I really want to at the end of the day. I feel like, I look at myself as like almost like a radio personality, because I can tell you right now, man, if I start talking about, like, there's some stuff I want to talk about today that I've been pondering on. There's actually a couple different things I want to talk about, and I'm like, I could literally have my own radio show on like any radio station. I have the personality. I feel like I have the personality. I definitely have the talk in me. That's not a problem at all. I have topics I could talk about. I have things I'm interested in. I have things that could keep me going for easily 4 hours. Like easily 4 hours. The problem is, like, because I thought about that as a career once upon a time. Like, I'd probably be good on a radio, like a radio show, or like a radio co-host or something like that. But then I was like, well, here's the problem, especially nowadays, because I've noticed a few things about like talk radio and stuff. Like when you look at talk radio today in terms of, maybe 25, 35 years ago, you look at like what they're talking about. And if they work for some big radio station, they're probably being told what to talk about. Like they're being told, like they're being controlled about the topics and things that they want to cover. They're being told like, hey, okay, you can research this, you can talk about that, but you can't, while you are talking about that one thing, you can't say this, you can't say that, don't bring this up, don't say this. And I feel like that defeats the purpose. And I feel like nowadays that's more true now than ever. So like the whole thing of like being on radio is kind of like a kind of pointless, because like unless it's your own radio show, then you could say or talk about whatever you want. Actually, that's probably not even true, because you're contracted. So, whatever's in your contract with that radio station or whoever's in charge, they're probably going to tell you what you can say, what to talk about. Like, you have a lot more freedom because it's your own show. But in terms of like what to talk about, they probably have some control over that to a certain extent. Unless you're like some big not guru, but like some big hotshot radio disc jockey, or just some hotshot like person that people recognize because you're famous, you're whatever. You probably have a little bit more pull. Like for example, if you're Howard Stern or something like that, Like that guy, I mean, he's on Sirius XM. The only reason why Sirius XM is as big as it is because of Howard Stern, because he came to Sirius XM, I want to say 20 years ago, 25 years ago, like 2003, I want to say 2004, maybe it was 2005, might have been 2005. Yeah, he's been there at least 20 years now. I remember listening to his radio show and him talking about, like, you know, hey, we're going to sign with satellite radio and Sirius XM. I think it wasn't even Sirius XM then. I think it was just Sirius Satellite. What's up, David? Unofficial MO. Wait, that's not what it says, does it? That's not unofficial MO. I was like, you scared me for a second. I'm like, wait, is that what that says? Unofficially, IMO? Unofficially MO? Yeah. Nonetheless, David, I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you. Thank you. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't, Howard Stern, yeah, I remember. Do you remember Howard Stern, David? I think he's a little bit more, I think he's definitely a little more irrelevant today than he was, obviously, you know, 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Unofficially IMO. Yes. Okay. You freaked me out. I was like, wait, did my title change? I got to like turn around and go back and like look at it again. No. You're fine, man. You're fine. I got paranoid. That's just me. No, you're totally fine. Yeah. You know, I was sitting there thinking to myself that, like, because I like, all right, minus like the going back to having your own radio show type thing, and honestly, like, when you think of like commercial radio, like, who do you think of? You know, in terms of personality, who do you think, like, what's the first thing that comes to mind? You know what I mean? Like, who's the first person you think of? Some people might think of like Casey Kasem. If you're going way back, like, you know, the countdown thing that he had. You know, Casey Kasem. You can arguably say, who's another big radio, Don Imus. You know, when Don Imus was like the #1 radio show in the country for a long ass time. Like, he was like the guy. And then Howard Stern comes along back in the 70s. Joe Rogan. Yeah, I was going to throw him in there too. Now you're getting into you're getting more into like podcasting, right? In terms of like podcasting, it's Joe Rogan. Now you can arguably say, if it's not Joe Rogan, because he was the #1 podcast in the country, I think in the world at one point. He might even still be. I don't know. I haven't looked. But then you got people like, you know, Sean Ryan, that is really getting up there in terms of popularity, as he is popular now. He's been a huge deal in terms of podcasting for a while now. Sorry, commercial. Howard Cosell. I don't think I've heard of that guy. I don't think I've heard of Howard Cosell. Is that how you say it? Cosell? I don't think I've heard of that guy. I don't think I have. But in terms of like, going back to the radio aspect of it, you think of the OGs, but when you look at it from a popularity standpoint, like who was dominant and still holds that title today in terms of radio, the only guy that I can think of is Howard Stern, because, you know, minus all the bullshit that Howard Stern has, you know, all the disgusting stuff that, let's be real, like the only reason why Howard Stern exists is because they called him a shock jock. And he was like the shock jock, the very first one. He changed the way like radio, how radio was, you know, he just changed the whole entire aspect of it, right? Say whatever you want, push the buttons, push the boundaries, and really get under people's skin and just, you know, push people's buttons. David, I'm old. Yeah. I'm too young. Howard Cosell. That's probably why. If you're going, what year was he? Yeah, I don't know. Like, what year was he? Are you going way back to like the 60s? Because he, you know, if that's obviously before my time, even the 70s before my time. But when you think of Howard Stern, you think of Howard Stern was like the original shock jock, so to say. Sportscaster. Okay. That's probably why I haven't heard of him. Now, I don't know a lot of sportscasters. No, I changed my, no, that's not true. Who was the announcer for the Chicago Cubs? It was Harry Carey. I know that guy. Now, he, in terms of sportscasters, other than like John Madden, but like John Madden was more of a legendary coach, football coach, than he was like a broadcaster, although he arguably did both very well. And when I think of like sportscasters, I think of John Madden and Harry Carey. Howard Cosell interviewed Mike Tyson. What year did he do that, by the way? That had to have been a long time ago. And speaking of Mike Tyson, anybody gonna watch that fight? Anybody gonna watch that fight with Mike Tyson? And he passed away in 95, but you would know him if you saw him. I bet I would. Hold on, now I'm curious now. Now I gotta look him up. Howard. Let's look him up. Howard Cosell. Wait a minute. Hold on now. Hold on, guys. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. This him? Howard Cosell. Yeah, that's the guy. He's on David Letterman here. Damn, he was born in 1918. And he died, in 1995. He just had a birthday. Oh, we're coming up on his death anniversary here pretty soon. Harry Carey, yes, you are correct. Yeah, he was. I think of him in the big old like goggle glasses that he had on, like these huge goggle glasses, man. Like that was the guy. I remember him. He's very iconic. It's the voice that gets me. You know, if you have a very distinct, unique voice, I'll remember who you are. John Madden had that distinct voice that stuck in me. Howard Stern, I think Howard Stern has like the ultimate radio voice, although he does have a very expensive microphone, and he's been using a Neumann, I think it's what it's called, a Neumann microphone, which I did look into those as well. But I'm like, man, we're not going anywhere with this right anytime soon. This Shure SM7B does very well. I thought about the Neumann microphone, but it's all about like how the EQ is and the settings that you have to broadcast your voice, and they have all sorts of things they can do to enhance it. But it all comes down to the settings, right? But the voice, when I think of iconic voices, I think of Howard Stern. He has like the best, minus all the gross shit. He has all the traits of a radio voice guy. He's it. He was a football player. Oh, you mean Howard Cosell? He was, huh? Let's see what his most famous saying is. You can't see this if you're watching on the YouTube shorts, you're going to be limited to what you can see here. By the way, if you want to support me on this channel, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications so you don't miss any time I go live or I post a video, which we're going to get into and be more active with. Make sure you do that. And then if you want to support me even further, come over to the horizontal feed on this channel. The horizontal feed is where you can best support me in watching videos and live streams. And I always say the shorts feed is where discoverability is at. That's how people get discovered, is on the shorts feeds, and the horizontal feed is where you support that creator. It was after a fight. You can Google it. Yes. He has the face for radio too. Oh, Howard Stern. Yeah. No, he does. He did not. Howard Stern didn't age well. Like, he just didn't. I don't know if he's got any plastic surgery in the works anytime soon. I doubt it. But he looked way better back in like the late 90s, early 2000s than he does today. I don't know. Like, he's one of those people that didn't age very well, and he would probably agree with you. But he's nonetheless, I mean, he's still iconic. You know, when he's not talking about dumb shit, like when he gets political, and he's yeah, with his politics, it's, you know, whatever. But in terms of, and minus all the gross stuff that he talks about, but he does have like solid opinions on specific things, like music artists. It's just stuff that's going on in the world. Like, when he's serious about a topic and he gets into it, he's very good at it. Like, he's very open-minded. He's kind of a smart guy when you think about it. So that's what I try to block out all the nasty, you know, stuff that he gets into. You know what I mean? But like, when you take all that stuff away and you just have Howard Stern the person, you know, and he's being straight up forward about a specific topic that you might be interested in, you know, he's actually a very smart guy. But that's not what he's known for. That's not how he built his career. He just so happens to have this on top of the other stuff that he's done in his radio career. But he's it. He's the guy. Madden was a football player also. Yes, I knew that much. Yes, I knew that John Madden was. Howard Cosell's famous signature phrase was, "Down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier." So he said that 3 times during the 1973 George Foreman Joe Frazier fight. Another iconic catchphrase, often associated with his blunt, tell it like it is style on Monday Night Football, was, "This is Howard Cosell, and you're old if you can hear that in his voice." Got it. Yeah. He's okay. I bet you if I heard him talk, I would probably know. There's a time difference, and reading my texts it's normal. Yeah. We're most likely 3 hours behind you. I'm on the West Coast. Yeah. Howard Cosell. Right on. Sportscaster, man, he died a long time ago. Hospital for joint diseases. What did he die of? Died on April 23rd, 1995, which is coming up Friday? I think it's Friday. No, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. He died at the age of 77 due to a cardiac embolism in Manhattan, New York. Known for his distinctive voice and tell it like it is style on Monday Night Football and boxing, has passed away at the hospital for joint diseases following a long illness. Okay, so that's according to a Facebook post. So he had heart complications. Sometimes reported as cardiac embolism. Cardiac embolism, sometimes reported as heart failure, complications from cancer, or strokes. He died at a hospital for joint diseases in Manhattan, New York. He is buried in West Hampton Cemetery, West Hampton, New York. It was a good time to meet you. Unfortunately, unofficially. Hope to see you soon. Hey, David. I hope to see you soon as well, my man. Take care. Take care, man. I appreciate it. Oh, not the time difference, but yes, it had a very distinct voice. He was great. Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Yeah, he was somebody that I'm not too familiar with. The name, the more I think about it, I don't know. But when the Joe Frazier George Foreman fight, I think I remember hearing that. That I think, if I think about it enough, I'd probably remember, you know, him saying that phrase. Down goes Frazier. Looks like a pretty solid dude. Was. Gosh, he's been dead 30 years. Jeez. You know who else had that very unique voice was Harry Carey. Harry Carey had that very unique voice too. Now, in terms of popularity wise, when you look at like iconic radio guys such as Howard Cosell, you have Howard Stern. Although, yeah, a lot of people that, like, he's hit or miss, man. It's either you like him or you hate him. There's really no in between with that guy. There really isn't. There's really no in between. He's either disgusting, perverted, gross, ew, or he's, man, that guy's a genius. I like him. It's a love-hate relationship with people. Although over the last several years, I think he has lost his audience to a certain extent, just because, you know, he has said some political things in the past that really rubbed some folks the wrong way with the woke stuff that he talked about. Because he's very, like, the dude never leaves the house. He never does. He never leaves the house. He works outside of his home. I think he works in his basement. I have no idea actually, but yeah, he never leaves his house. He's scared to death of germs. He's very self-conscious about himself. Like, he's very, like, he doesn't like the way he looks. He always talks about it all. So he's always putting himself down as being ugly. And, you know, it's kind of funny when he puts himself down like that. It's kind of comedic comedy. But he, nonetheless, I think he started the whole entire, he's the reason why people say the things they say on radio and podcasts today. Because he wasn't afraid to push the boundaries to its limits. So he started the whole thing, right? Nowadays is podcasting. Podcasting now, everybody and their mother's got a podcast. I mean, would I consider this a podcast? No, I don't think so. I don't think no, this is more of like opinionated stuff, really. I mean, it's nothing that, you know, not anything podcast related. Although you never know, one day it could turn into a podcast. I might end up on the Joe Rogan podcast. You never know, right? You never know. But nowadays, in terms of like podcasting and stuff, you think of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like the guy. He's like the master of podcasting right now. Then probably second in line to him is probably Candace Owens. Yeah. Candace Owens, right? Minus all the conspiracy theories that come from her. She used to be great once. Like, she used to be a great conservative voice for the Republican Party, right? And then after Charlie Kirk died, she just went berserk. Like, she went straight up bananas, man. Like, she really did. She went crazy. And I always like to describe her as, like, nowadays, and I never used to think of her like this, but the way she's been covering like Turning Point USA and talking about, yes, she's unofficially lost her mind. She really has, man. And it's kind of sad because you're like, where did it all go wrong? Where did it all go wrong for Candace Owens, man? Like, you have to really think about it for a second. And then when I do, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, when you go back and you think about like her career in politics or wherever else, you have to say to yourself, where did she go nuts? And she took an entire 180. She was kind of leading up to this a little bit, but where it really, really took a turn, like big time, really fast, is when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. When Charlie Kirk died, like a part of her sanity died with her, or with him, sorry. Like her sanity just went, you know, I would put her, like, I describe her right now the way she is as like a jealous ex-girlfriend that didn't get put in charge of something after their ex-boyfriend / CEO of a major company passed away, and they thought like they had this great relationship, and they thought like, hey, instead of leaving this to my wife and children, I'm gonna pass this down to my friend. And she's jealous. You know, that's how I describe her. She's a jealous ex-girlfriend who's just pissed off. And now she's doing everything in her power to bring down, you know, Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk, and she's trying to like just to totally destroy everything that Charlie Kirk built. She's trying to destroy it. And it's really sad, man, because she, you know, she never used to be that way. She used to be like this very, you know, go-to person when it comes to like, you know, fighting for the good cause for the Republicans and the conservative, not even Republican stuff, just like the conservative party, right? She was like the go-to. She's very smart. She's still very smart. You know, there's something she said one time she was pregnant. She was doing some, I don't know where she was, but she was on stage. She was pregnant at the time, and she was answering somebody's question, and they asked her something, and it was just, I don't even remember what it was that somebody asked her, but all I remember her saying is, you guys Dom might know this, but somebody asked a question, and she's like, I'm just kind of paraphrasing with this. She's like, life's tough, bro. Get a helmet. I don't know what else to tell you, you know? And I was like, okay, you know, that was years ago when she said that. It was several years ago. I'm like, yeah, that's Candace Owens like that I miss. You know what I mean? But ever since Charlie Kirk died, she became this different person, and she's just doing like everything in her power to like destroy Turning Point. It's really odd. And I really don't know why. Other than money. Everything comes down to money. When you really think about it, follow the path of why somebody does what they do. It's usually, you know, based on money. That phrase that Jesus said, money is the root of all evil. That is true. I can't think of anything more truer than that, man, because you just look at what people do, like the crazy, just chaos, this crazy shit that people do. You're like, why are you saying all this weird stuff? And gain millions of followers doing it too. Like Candace Owens has millions of people that watch her on a weekly basis. You know, she'll put out a live stream. She goes live on YouTube, and she'll put out a video, or not a video, but a live stream. And by the time that live stream's over, she's already had 400,000 or 500,000 views. And mind you, this is within an hour. You know, this is within an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, depending upon the severity of the topic that they're talking about. But like, when she goes live, she holds an audience, man. Like she knows how to gain traction. But the problem is it's a lot of just he said, she said nonsense stuff that's just has no value or meaning or truth to a lot of the stuff she says, because if you listen to what she talks about, she's saying, hey, you know, a source of mine, a credible source that was there that day, or such and such that was there that day told me this happened, and they witnessed it. It's a lot of he said, she said with her. And that's where it gets, you know, like, okay, you have no evidence to support anything you're saying. It's he said, she said. I can say that. And then at the end of the day, I'm sitting there thinking, how many people that you get these resources from actually don't like you? You know what I mean? Like, they actually don't like you for whatever reason. And they're just kind of fucking with you. And they know that you're gullible. And if it's a big enough lie that fits your narrative, or you believe it so much so that it's so much into your narrative and it's what you're searching for, you're going to grab a hold of it and you're going to run with it, man. You know what I mean? Like, how many people have actually, messed with her so much so that she actually believed it, and they knew that all I got to say is like these things, right? I just have to manipulate my so-called sources. I was there that day. So-and-so was there that day. And here's my fake information about it. And here's my evidence. Like, how do you believe that person that said they were there? Or I know a source that was there that day. How? Where's the evidence in all this stuff, man? She just doesn't have it. And it's sad. It really is. And she's getting in trouble a lot of the time too. Most likely I think she's already got a lawsuit pending in court right now for the Bridget McCrone thing. She thinks Bridget McCrone's a fucking dude. And made this whole big deal about it. Man, I think she's getting sued over it. She was on, what show was she on? She was on, who's the other guy? Pierce Morgan. She was on a show with Pierce Morgan, and she was talking to him about Bridget McCrone and how he's a man. Bridget McCrone has a penis. I'm like, oh shit, dude. Like, how do you know that? Unless I physically see it myself, how would you know? How could you feel okay with saying that if you, honest to God, don't know that to be true? And that's what she is. She's turned into a conspiracy theorist. Sadly, that's what she is. I think she falls in line with, if you were to search somebody online, she falls in line with the, like, people that are searching for Bigfoot. And like, that's how I feel. Like, she falls into conspiracy theories. Like, what really happened with JFK, and is Bigfoot real, and is the Loch Ness Monster real, and the Wolfman, and all these like things out there to like point towards like, well, is that true or not? And did that so-and-so really happen? And is this really true? Is that true? Did that not happen? And what ifs type thing. Like, she's very much that's what she falls under, in my opinion, man. And it's really sad. It really is, because she used to never think like that. I don't think she's ever been that way, not that I've seen. And she's getting a lot of traction by saying things that it has no truth to it. And she's only getting it from people that are reporting this to her. Like, and she never sits down and talks to these people on her show. At least with guys like Sean Ryan and Joe Rogan and all those guys, like, they have guests on their show. Sean Ryan, I really like him. He's up there with like Joe Rogan. He actually has people on his show, and he interviews them, and he actually gets it from the horse's mouth, right? With Candace, it's just her. Joe Rogan, same thing. You have guests on his show. They're talking about, like, Bob Lazar. I don't know if you know anything about Bob Lazar, but the dude claims that he worked at Area 51 in the 80s. And he worked on a UFO aircraft, and he was trying to reverse engineer some of the stuff, the mechanical aspects of a UFO. And he's very famous for that. Joe Rogan invited him on his podcast several years ago, and it's been the most watched podcast that Joe Rogan's ever had. Like 66 million views, I think it was, on YouTube, of Bob Lazar coming on his show and talking. He has someone else with him there too. I can't remember the guy's name, but he had Bob Lazar on his show, and he was talking to him. 66 million views, and he was talking about UFOs. It is, and Bob Lazar is a very credible, person that has, a lot of truths to what he was saying, and he's able to back it up in terms of, like, where he was his story is very credible in terms of he's never changed like his story, like about like what he did on the UFO aircraft, like all like 40 some years later. You know, the dude came on his show and he talked about it, and at least you have to give that to Joe Rogan. When he gets things out of people, like they're physically there and they're watching him, right? With Candace Owens, you don't get that. It's just her. She's just talking, kind of like you and me right now. I'm just sitting here, and like if I was really into Bigfoot and I felt like Bigfoot was real, but I don't have any evidence to support it, it's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. It's just what you think and what you believe. There's no truth to it, right? And that's what she does. She just talks about these things that don't have any truth. And you're like, why? Oh, I know. It's because people watch. That's the first thing. People watch. The second thing is it makes her money. Millions of dollars a month. Probably just off of YouTube alone. And also too, it gets her name out there. And it causes more people to know who Candace Owens is, and they just go and watch. I think a lot of people want to watch her because they want to know like the next crazy things that she's going to talk about. So that's why people watch her. She's just out there, man. She's really out there. And, like I said, she never used to be that way. And I honestly think it's because when Charlie Kirk passed away, she she blew a head gasket. And she's never been the same since. That's what it is. That's what I think. I think that's what it is. She's like a jealous ex-girlfriend. But anywho, in terms of like radio personalities and stuff like that, Howard Stern is like the top guy. Nowadays, it's Joe Rogan and Sean Ryan. Those are like the top guys. Those are the top guys. Oh. Let me go ahead and I was going to talk about something today that was on my mind. Man, I wish I had because I can talk and it might just be about whatever. It might just be about whatever, because like things will come into my mind like that. And what do you call that? Graham Allen. That's another one on Rumble. Graham Allen, Dan Bongino. Those are great personalities. Graham Allen's been on Rumble for a while. Like he's been around the block. In terms of like, who's like the king of Rumble. He's up there. I think Dan Bongino, I saw like today, Dan Bongino had like over 1 million views on his show on Rumble. Like, damn, is that many people actually watching him? That's insane. That's crazy. Yeah. Over 10 years. Oh, Graham Allen. Yeah. I can't even imagine having that kind of pull. Like, even if I was like a successful podcaster or personality on YouTube or something, I would never even imagine having that kind of an audience. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine sitting here talking to y'all right now, and right behind this little piece of, hard plastic with a little lens cap right there, that there's over 1 million people watching, or 100,000 people, or even 10,000 people. Like, I can't, my brain can't wrap around that. Would I change the way I think? No, it'd still be the same. It'd still be the same. Nothing would change. I'd still be the same person that I am right now. But like, to think like those people hold that kind of an audience, it's like, how did you guys do that? Like, I know how Joe Rogan did it. He's been a podcaster for years, and he was on TV and everybody knew who Joe Rogan was, so he's been that way for a long time. He's carried that name for a long time. But Dan Bongino, I don't know how he got his start. I know he was on Fox News for a number of years. And I don't know about Graham Allen either. I don't know where he got his start. I know they were both in the military. Dan Bongino, I think, was Secret Service for George W. That's about all I know. So, but I sit there and I think to myself, I'm like, damn, how did y'all, like, not just those guys, I'm talking like just anybody in general. Like, how did y'all get to where you are today? Like, it's always a good success story, you know. I'm always thinking about like the struggles that people went through to become who they are today. I think that's a great success story, to figure out like how people became famous and stuff. If they, like, the struggles they went through and the ups and downs and stuff like that. That's always great. But yeah, in terms of like me, I mean, I could talk about what's that thing that people are diagnosed with? Is it ADHD? Like you like talk about something, be interested in something, and then change the topic and just totally talk about something else. I think like the thing I need to work on is sticking to one topic and then finishing out that topic and then moving on, you know, and then moving on. That's the thing, right? That's the thing that makes it so tough for me. That's my struggles. And I think that's why I can talk about whatever, because I'm interested in so many different things, you know, it's so many different things and so many different, like, I could talk about ladybugs and shit. I could talk about ladybugs and how great ladybugs are for your garden. And then I can turn around and talk to you about like dinosaurs. And then I can go from dinosaurs to politics. I go from politics to like music. I go from music to just like drama. You know, I could go from that to, you know, like, hey, you know, what are people eating for breakfast nowadays? If you do eat breakfast, or do you fast? Like, I talk about like weight loss stuff and, you know, working out and muscle gains and whatever else, man. Like I can go. I have to like write stuff down to make sure I stay on track, because I can go off track real quick. Today I didn't have much of an agenda. I just wanted to get back on in front of the camera, go live, and just kind of hang out, right? Although I did want to talk about one specific thing that I actually let's go ahead and pause the music. I actually heard about this today, and I wanted to talk about it, and I found this to be super interesting, and I think it's something that needs to have more awareness to it and just more attention. And what is it that I'm talking about? And I'm going to talk about it with you right here, right now. You guys ready? Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to break this down as best as I can. So, retirement. So, how many of you guys are actually retired or on the verge of retirement, or you're nowhere near retirement? I know, like, for me, I'm nowhere near retirement. So, but I think about it all the time because I don't want to struggle financially in my quote unquote golden years. You know, I don't want to do that. I don't know anybody that wants to do that, to continue to work for the rest of their lives when they know that they have to because they can't afford to retire. That's awful. That is awful. But over half of Americans are heading into retirement with less than $100,000 saved to their name. Less than $100,000 to their name. And the crazy part about all that is that might not be the biggest problem. And because even if you do retire, there's a very real chance you still won't be able to afford to live. And that's today's statistics too, as well. So I started looking into like retirement stats, and just out of curiosity, you know, just for the heck of it. And I found some stuff that was honestly hard to ignore. And, you know, we're talking about like millions of people not having enough money saved. More people are working past 65 than ever before. I mean, think about that for a second. 65 years old. That's the age you don't want to work past 65. I don't want to work past 65. That's my cutoff. And now more and more people are working way, way into their 60s and even 70s and 80s. And the healthcare system on top of that, because when you get older, obviously the healthcare system is, you got to take care of yourself health wise. And there's a lot of senior citizens that just, they have a lot of health issues, and healthcare system that doesn't even cover what most people think it does either. It really doesn't. So let's talk about that for a second, because I find that really interesting, man. Like, just think about that for a second. And a lot of people don't think about, retirement when they're young. And that's when you really should, because you don't want to think about it when you're pushing 60 years old and you're trying to figure out how to do it, when you kick yourself in the ass and say, man, I should have retired or thought about this when I was in my 20s, or even in my 30s, or even in my 40s. I should have thought more about this. And I found this to be really interesting too, is about half of Americans between the ages of 55 and 65. That's where the number's coming in, that have less than $100,000 saved for retirement. Now, on paper, when you think about it, it sounds decent, and it is. It's decent money, but in reality, it's not even close to what you need. And that's the scary part. But when you factor in like the rising cost of living, inflation, because there is still inflation. It's not like it was, but there is still inflation, and especially healthcare. And that money doesn't last very long when you figure that into just the everyday necessities and needs of somebody that's thinking about retiring. And we're not even talking about like luxury retirement. When I say luxury, I'm thinking about like, you have a nice car, you have a nice house, you have a nice lifestyle, you have nice clothes, you go on vacations a lot, you eat out a lot at fancy restaurants. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about like basic survival type stuff, just everyday Americans that are, not living high off the hog, so to say. Just your basic everyday American that might live on, West Main Street, East Main Street, USA, or something like that, or just Main Street, USA. And when you're talking about like the survival part of it, and this is where things start to really shift. More and more people aren't actually retiring at 65 anymore. Like I said, some are working late into their 60s and 70s and beyond that. And sure, some people want to keep working. I get that. Some people are bored. They know they can retire like any day, but they choose not to because they'd rather work, or else they go insane. They'd rather keep themselves busy, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people that work into their 60s and 70s because they generally enjoy their jobs, or they just want to work, right? Keeps them going. But for me, a lot of people are doing it because they have to. And that's the truth. A lot of people have to do it because they have to. They don't choose to. They're forced to in order to survive. And the part that really caught my attention is a lot of people believe Medicare will take care of them as they get older. And, some of the older folks already know that's not true. But like if you're younger and you depend on, especially if you depend on the government, with helping out in terms of like paying your bills, buying groceries and things like that. Some of those people probably already have it in their mindset that Medicare will take care of me as I get older, right? But that's not entirely true. So Medicare covers like medical treatments, but it doesn't cover like long-term care. So Medicare does not pay for in-home care or assisted living. So I'll say that again. Medicare does not pay for in-home care or assisted living. How many people out there take care of their mom, take care of their dad, take care of, their brother, their sister, because they're old, they can't take care of themselves. They might be, just not able to physically take care of themselves. How many people are depending on someone else to take care of them? Nursing homes and things like that. That stuff's not cheap. It's expensive. And, in-home care, assisted living, long-term nursing care, those costs, that's you. That comes out of your pocket. And those run into tens of thousands of dollars even over $100,000 a year sometime. When you think about like assisted living, they take your Social Security. So if you're in an assisted living complex, you give them like pretty much your entire Social Security, and they use that money to take care of you. Yeah, you guaranteed a roof over your head. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's about it, you know? And I always used to wonder, like, a lot of those people that live in assisted living complexes and stuff, like, you ever like get a chance to go look at how they're living over there? Not saying, I'm not calling out like some of these assisted living places, but just look at the people that are there. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, it's because it's really depressing. You sit there and you think, like, how many of these poor people that are in here choose to be in here, or however many of these people actually chose not to be in here, but they were forced to be, or they held not against their will, but they were told, hey, you don't have anybody else to take care of you. Maybe they had a spouse that took care of them that tragically passed away. Or maybe you had like somebody that was taking care of you, like one of your kids or something like that. And they just no longer can afford to do it, or they choose not to for whatever reason. And you just end up in this assisted living place. How depressing is that? Like, you always my thing was like, how did you, like, do you want to live here? Do you choose to live here? Or is it because you can't afford to live on your own? Some of these people don't have relatives. Like, they don't have, siblings or children or spouses or whatever that they can live with or take care of. My thing is, like, for me, I always say is like, who's going to take care of me when I'm old? Who's going to take care of me when I'm old? You hope, like, in good faith, like, you're not going to like get sick and how you say that word, incapacitated, or your mobility is gone. You can't take care of yourself anymore because you're in a wheelchair, or you're disabled to the point to where you have to have help. God forbid that happens to someone like me or my wife. We don't want that to happen, and some people just don't have anyone else to take care of them because they just don't have anybody. They're it. And that's sad in itself too, when you think about it. And, if something, going back to my initial thought, let's just say you're a reasonably healthy person and you're approaching retirement, but you have no savings. And if something happens later in life, the biggest expenses aren't even covered. And $100,000 is not a lot of money. It looks good on paper, but in terms of like the cost of living and things, it's just, that's not going to do it. And I think the bigger issue isn't just the numbers, it's the assumption. So a lot of people grow up thinking, hey, if I work hard, save a little bit, and hit the retirement age, I'll be fine. But the system today doesn't really, when you think about it, it doesn't really support that idea anymore. So it isn't about fear. It's because I look at this as like, this is like so depressing, but like, if you're able to control this in your own way, which you can fix it and change it now. That's what I'm doing. Like, I don't want to wait till I'm like 70 and I'm like, oh, coulda, woulda, shoulda, you know what I mean? So because the reality is in retirement today looks very different than it did, 20, even 30 years ago. And people who understand that early on in their lives are usually the ones that have a really good chance to prepare for it later on down the road. So if you've been thinking about this at all, I'm curious, like, is this something that you think about now, or you're not really concerned about it because you're already prepared, or you're just not concerned about it at all because you feel like I'm always going to live paycheck to paycheck? Do you know anybody that's like that? Oh, I'm always going to have a car payment. I'm always going to have debt. I'm always going to do this. I'm always going to be that. And those are the people that I'm sitting there thinking, like, what does retirement actually look like to them now? What does it look like to you? Do you have enough money saved? Do you have enough money put away? Are you thinking about it at a young age? Because I know I kind of did in my 20s. I didn't really think about it all that much. I mean, I don't know anybody that really does in their 20s. I think a lot of people in their 20s are just trying to figure out themselves, let alone retirement. But there are some 20-year-olds and early teens even that even think about like putting money away. And if you got like good parents growing up that knew how to, handle money and was really good about finances and saving money and stuff, I think that goes a very long way too as well. But some people just didn't have that growing up or just didn't know anything about it, right? So I'm just curious to know what you guys think about the whole entire thing. Like, are you prepared for retirement? Or are you going to be one of those people that like, I have no idea, I'm not going to have enough money and I'm just going to have to continue working for the rest of my life? But like the good news is there's a lot of people out there like Dave Ramsey. I don't know if any of you guys know who Dave Ramsey is, but Dave Ramsey's like, he's like the guy when it comes to like financial expertise. I think of Dave Ramsey. Some people might call him a guru or what have you. But he's been around the block for a number of years. He knows a thing or two about saving money in retirement and living beneath your needs and, knowing how to budget and all those things, right? That play into later on down the road so you can retire. And, I just felt like that was something that I wanted to talk about because when I heard those numbers today, and going back to Dave Ramsey, I've been listening to him for a number of years now. And I think he's like the greatest guy ever when it comes to money. Like he knows how to, because he's been there, he's done that. He's went broke. He's went bankrupt. Like he knows how to finance money because he was broke once too. And he knows what it's like to be down and to not have anything in terms of money. So he knows how to budget very well. He knows that area very well. And I think he's a really smart guy when it comes to that. Some people hate Dave Ramsey. Like a lot of people just sit there and look at Dave Ramsey like that guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And then you have other people that just think he's like a total, dumbass or whatever. I know a few people that don't like Dave Ramsey. I don't need Dave Ramsey to tell me how to, save my money and all this and that, right? And he's it, man. Like, bro, that's him. Like, that's the guy. I don't know. I think he's a great guy. I think he's super knowledgeable and I think he knows what he's doing. He gets a lot of bad hate sometimes, but it is what it is with people. So for me, if you really want to know how to save for retirement and you want to know how to prepare for retirement and you want to budget your money, you want to try, especially getting out of debt and stuff like that, I think like that's the guy to listen to. I highly recommend Dave Ramsey for stuff like that. Because he has a way of explaining things so you understand them. And he's very good at that in terms of finances. But you guys are going to have to tell me what you think. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Do me a huge favor. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you got anything out of this today, please support the channel. Follow me. Hit the subscribe button. And together we will do good things with this channel. Absolutely. That's my take on the whole entire thing. At the end of the day, prepare yourself for retirement. Don't be 70, 80 years old having to go into work because you have to. There's an expression or a saying, I should say. There's a saying that I've heard from people that I know, and they say, I'll die behind a keyboard because they have to work. I don't want that. I don't want to die behind a keyboard. And if I die behind a keyboard, it's because I'm doing this. Maybe doing something I enjoy doing. That's the only time I plan on dying behind a keyboard because I'm doing this. Anyway, that's that. So what do you guys think? I mean, well, I there's like two of you in here, but nonetheless, I think people just don't think about retirement when they're young, and they should. And I think it should be like it's especially when you're young, you live at home, you're still in school, you haven't graduated high school yet. I feel like it's the parents' responsibility and on the responsibility of the school to provide some sort of like an economics class about wealth and how to build wealth and investing in the stock market, 401ks and Roth IRAs and CDs and bonds and, things like that to help people prepare. And I don't think enough schools do that anymore. I know there are some schools that do that teach kids how to prepare for like their future and when it comes to money, stuff like that. I think that should, if not, I think it should be almost like I think that should be a requirement for kids, is to have the school. I know it's like an elective. Sometimes you don't even have to take it, but like home economics, like economics class, I think it should be in every high school and every middle school, more so high school, especially your junior and senior year. I feel like the earlier, the better. I think that's the best thing to do, is the earlier, the better, to learn about that stuff. But other than that, I mean, you know, wealth is such like it's such a, when you think of money and building wealth, there's so many people out there that would sit there and say, I'll never get there. I'll never get millionaire status. I'll never reach millionaire status. I don't think I could ever do that. All right, going back to what I was saying, is people would always say, you know, I don't know if you know anybody that might say, you know what, I'm always going to have a car payment. How many people do you know that will always say that? I'm always going to be in debt. Always going to be in debt because I need a car. I'm not going to go buy some junk car. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people out there that will always refer back to that because they think that's the way that it's going to be. And that's just not true. That's so far from the truth. If you sit there and you invest your money wisely and go growth stock mutual funds and your 401k, especially if your job has it, and you keep that for a number of years, 30, 40 years, you're going to retire wealthy. Death and taxes. Yes, David, the only two things that are guaranteed. Death and taxes. Yes, that is true. What was that one saying that, was it Ronald Reagan? I hear politicians say this from time to time. I'm like, okay, I know where you got that from, but he sat there and he said, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Like the worst thing that you can hear from somebody is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Remember, money can't buy you happiness. No, but it'll buy me a Lamborghini. And I've always wanted a Lamborghini since I was a kid. At least it'll give me that. Might give me one of my top favorite muscle cars I always wanted. Might give me one of those. And in terms of happiness, I think that's a mental thing. Like, you got to find out what makes you happy and just attack that and go after it. You know what I mean? I don't care what it is. You remember that? Yeah. I'm from the government and I'm here to help. It's like the worst things ever. Like, you're from where and you're here to do what? I'm sorry? No, thank you. I'm good. What was that? What was that thing? It was a country music song by, what's his name? Now I gotta I'm sitting here thinking about it and I could just Google it. Chris Jansen, Buy Me a Boat. You guys know that song? He's talking about wishing that he was a millionaire. I ain't rich, but I damn sure want to be. Working like a dog ain't working for me. I wish I had a rich uncle that kicked the bucket and I was sitting on a pile like Warren Buffett. I'm sure that might be true, but it sure sounds pretty cool. Because it could buy me a boat. You're funny. Have fun with it. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have fun, man. You gotta have fun. You can buy me a boat. You can buy me a truck to pull it. You can buy me a 8110. Ice down with some silver bullets. Yeah. I think money buys you a certain amount of happiness to a certain extent. And I think once you've had it for so long that it becomes part of your lifestyle, that it doesn't make you happy anymore. Because You know you can do whatever you want to do, and you've already done it hundreds of times, and it made you happy once. So there's a lot of people, rich people out there that hate their lives. Can you sing a little bit of it? That's what it was. Well, I don't want to sing too much of it. All right, here we go. Everybody sit back. A little bit too much reverb.
Whoa, not enough there. I can't use that.
Wait a minute. Oh, wow. Maybe if I want to get Barry White. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. A little bit of deep voice.
Who was that guy? Was it Barry White? Uh-huh.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Fun. That's fun. But yeah, Chris Jansen. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think money would buy happiness for a short period of time, and then you just get used to it, and you're like, okay, I'm used to it. Yeah. Now what? What's next? You never truly win unless you've lost. The difference between sweet and the sour. Yeah. But it's like, you don't know what you had until it's gone type deal. Kind of one of those things, you know? Or like, I think a lot of people, and this is true, a lot of people just, you know, they've never had money before. And then like lottery winners are the perfect example of this. You know, people that grew up poor and grew up living paycheck to paycheck and just had a bunch of debt all the time. You know, those are the people that when they never had money and all of a sudden they come across a very large sum of money, you know, like I said, they hit the lottery or whatever. And then those are usually the people that are first to go broke. They just blow it all. There's all sorts of stories of people winning the lottery and then blowing through millions of dollars in under like 3 or 5 years. It's because they never knew anything about money because they never had it, never budgeted for it, didn't know what it was like to even have money to begin with. And then you give those people that money and they just blow it on whatever the hell they want. And then they have nothing to show for it. There's a very popular guy that this was some years ago. I can't even remember his name, but I don't even know where to start. But he was a lottery guy. I don't remember how much I gotta look this up. It's gonna bother me. Luther Vandross. Who's that? Is that a guy that won a bunch of money? Let me see. Oh, Tucker Carlson apologizes for misleading people about Donald Trump. Did he? Hold on, I got sidetracked. ADHD's kicking in. Ah, shit, this is on MSN. Can't read the full article unless you subscribe and pay for it. Whatever happened to MSN? MSN, you used to... Anybody else have MSN? Hotmail? Was that who did the Hotmail thing? Was MSN? I know where I can find this. Hold on. Tucker Carlson is another one that I really enjoy watching. He's a very smart guy. Hold on a minute. So, according to MSN, Luther Vandross, who is that guy? Damn it. Hold on. That name sounds... Didn't even get Luther spelled out all the way. American R&B singer? Okay. I've never heard of that guy. He was an American R&B, a soul singer, songwriter, record producer. Sold millions of records, over 25 million records worldwide. Really? Dance with my Grammy Award winning, including Song of the Year in 2004. Dance with My Father. Never heard of this guy. YouTube has a delay for you. You're doing good. Thank you. Yes, there is a delay. I thought it was on my end, but it's not. It's definitely not on my end. I thought it was something with my OBS. It's the broadcast that I usually use to go live. I thought it was on there, but it's not. Hold on. Tucker Carlson. We used to watch Tucker. Hold on a second. Let me pause this music here. The music sometimes. Oh, pause itself. Nice. Oh, the track's over. Okay. So, Tucker. We used to watch Tucker Carlson all the time when he was on Fox News. I mean, we watched him day in, day out. You know, I think he still has the best opening monologue of any news reporter or any opinionated newscaster ever. I think like he's got like the best opening monologues. Like he has a way of he has like really good hooks, and like he's the best at it. So I guess like according to MSN.com, and I can't read the full article here. So what is this? Hold on. What is this saying? Let's go here. And you can't really see this. Oh, my big head's in the way too. I'm just going to kind of read this here. So I just found this out. This was earlier today. According to MSN.com, Tucker Carlson breaks with President Trump, whom the ex-Fox News host once robustly supported, took a stunning turn this week, as Carlson apologized for campaigning for Trump and saying he was sorry for that, misleading people about Trump. Carlson made the comments on Monday episode podcast, The Carlson Show, speaking with his brother, Buckley Carlson, a former Trump speechwriter. Was he? I didn't know that. I didn't know his brother was even, I had no idea. Holy cow. Okay. Well, I guess he was a former speechwriter for Donald Trump. I can't hit continue reading for this. It's going to make me pay more money or just subscribe to pay more or whatever. But you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure. Carlson said on his podcast, it's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind. Or, oh, you know what? Hang on. Hang on a minute. I think I found something on X. Yes.
Yes.
I did. Hold on. What's this title? This is according to this guy, Officer Lou here. Tucker Carlson. I'll be tormented for a long time by the fact that I played a role in getting Donald Trump elected. And I want to say that I'm sorry for misleading people. What are you sorry for? Yeah, I agree 100%. Tucker was great. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I don't know either. He's him, Megyn Kelly, they all just kind of, Candace, I mean, they all just kind of, I wouldn't say turned on him, but they kind of did, you know, they kind of did. So let's take a look here. So I guess this is Tucker talking about, apologizing for campaigning for Donald Trump. Let's take a look.
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him. I campaigned for him.
Brother.
I mean, we're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out.
Huh.
It's like in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So
that's his brother.
I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own conscience.
Never seen his brother before. I think I saw pictures.
We'll be tormented by it for a long time.
Tormented by it? Tucker, what are you talking about? Why is he saying that? Why is he saying he's going to be tormented by it for a long time? Are you having regrets? I don't think I've ever heard this man regret anything that he stood by or that he once stood by. We heard it take on a big paycheck and changed. Yeah, I think he did. Unofficially, thanks for letting me hang out. Hey, you can come back anytime, man. Door's always open. Come back. You can always come back. Absolutely.
I will be. and I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, but the question does
misleading people. He's sorry for it wasn't intentional for misleading people. I don't understand what he said to mislead anybody other than just being out there in front of a microphone campaigning for Donald Trump. So I don't remember anything that Tucker said to cause him to say that, other than the fact that he's just regretting it because he's very strongly opinionated on how Trump is running the country right now and some of the things that Donald Trump has said. So I'm assuming that's what it is. And he feels guilty about it. I really hope that somebody's not like pulling on him saying, hey, Tucker, you remember when you said that about so-and-so when you campaigned for Donald Trump? Yeah, not a good look, bro. You should probably apologize for it. Like, I hope he's not being bought and paid for. I want to say no. Because I want to say no. That's not true.
present itself immediately like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that.
Yes.
But it didn't, there are tons of people of low character who like outperform their character. It doesn't have to be.
Sort of the norm, actually. these
brother,
days,
wow.
I would
Right.
say.
I've outperformed my
He looks nothing like his brother. I just want to point that out there. Like absolutely nothing like Tucker Carlson. I mean, kind of, I guess, a little bit, but you know, he sounds like him, but I don't know if he looks like
character
him.
a lot. I don't know.
Okay, the thing about Donald Trump, yeah, when you look at it from a character standpoint, I mean, is he the smartest man in the room? No. But I mean, you don't become a billionaire for being stupid, I guess, you know. And I don't know. What is he trying to say?
Especially high character, right? But you know, you try to whatever, you try your best. But
You try your best.
But what was this? Was this always the plan?
There's money in going against him now. Yeah, I think so. I think people are paying for these guys. Not saying Tucker's being bought and paid for. I don't know that to be true. I have no idea, but I think with a lot of opinionated radio hosts or just personalities on YouTube or on satellite radio or whatever, and they have their own shows and they're very, very popular with the people and people that used to support Donald Trump. I wouldn't doubt it if they were being pulled in a direction to, you know, hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars to talk shit about Donald Trump. And if they strongly feel that is true about Donald Trump or whatever, or if they feel strongly about it and the money is there, you know, why wouldn't they, you know?
You know, looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was. And it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that he and
Butler,
Ryan
yeah.
Ruth? I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts.
Yeah, he was.
Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom
I
of
haven't
that?
talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah. Stymied from the very top.
Yeah, Donald Trump, I think people forget about that. Like, he only had 2 assassination attempts on his life. The first one, obviously, for the bullet nicked his ear. I mean, that dude shouldn't be alive right now. I mean, I can't think of an even more luckier dude than him. I won't get into all that, but I mean, that he is so, and he knows this, he is so lucky to be here right now. And I think, like, at first when Donald Trump almost got assassinated, that first attempt, I thought that changed him a little bit. You know, I thought it, like, changed him in a way where I thought he was going to be a different person. Because it felt like, his attitude, his body language kind of felt like he was going to change the way he was. It felt like that for a little bit. And I really thought he was going to like be a different person and come out like a different person after that. No, he wasn't. It doesn't change him at all. I don't think it did.
From people who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the motive.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't even think they really know what's going on with that right now. Are they even
the
looking
enormous
into
amount
that?
of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time. But, you know, there's a lot of money in politics. To run for president requires an enormous, Cackling Camel Toe went through $2 billion in 4 months. So,
Damn.
sure, there's an argument to be made that you get money from those who will give it to you.
Oh my goodness.
It's just the nature of that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of politicians out there that, I mean, the one I can think of is George Soros. Like, that guy would throw millions of dollars at this crazy liberal Democrat that's running for, whatever, for mayor, for governor, whatever, and they will throw money at these people, and it's amazing, like, people's judgmental, their character, their lack of better judgment just goes out the window when there's a check written for like millions of dollars. Like, ooh, and they're so quick to take it. You know what I mean? And when you're running for a political office like that, people will, those politicians will eat that money alive, even though they swore that they wouldn't take money from so-and-so. But when the price is right, baby, people will take it.
But it's still reprehensible, and it's still a big question mark. Why would someone who has obvious and demonstrated allegiance to a foreign power give Donald Trump $250 million while he's running for president? I mean, how is that defensible? It's really not. If Russia had given a PAC for Trump, if the mayor of Moscow had somehow, assembled an enormous amount of money and put it in a 501c3 for Trump's benefit, would that have been acceptable? Of course it wouldn't have been.
Well, no.
So what does it's so basic, comes back to the money. Like, what did they get in return for that amount of investment?
Elected. I think, and it goes back to, just because somebody donates millions of dollars to your campaign, that doesn't mean you're going to get elected. I think Kamala Harris got hundreds of millions of dollars thrown at her during her run for president, that short period of time when she ran. She didn't win. And I think a lot of it has to do with like celebrity support, which is totally unrelatable to the normal, blue collar worker or whatever in this country. People can't relate to that. And I think it angers people. But a lot of the reason why people get elected is because, they get money thrown their way. Like a lot of it, too, especially running for president.
And it's clear.
I get it.
But it doesn't guarantee
of course,
they'll
I
win
agree
the
with every word
presidency,
that you're saying. I just think, given his behavior and his demonstrated disloyalty and viciousness to previous supporters.
Yes.
Why wouldn't...
Viciousness to previous... I'm trying to think, like, what did he... Like, other than going after, because I think, like, Trump doesn't go after people that poke fun at him. I think he's really going after the people that say something first. Like, he's very defensive. Like, he will defend himself very quickly. So if a bad news article comes out, which is like daily, if he's being targeted in terms of like hate and which is all the time, he's like probably the most hated president we've ever had and probably will be for years to come. And, when people are constantly, saying all these things about him for years on end, you're going to get defensive, because and plus you're used to it. But like, he's a different breed. Like, he's not going to just sit there and, especially people which at some point he did say, I think he said before he ran for president, like, I had a lot of friends. I had a lot of people that I called friends. And he's like, when I announced I was running for president, he said, they all turned against me. I don't have so many friends anymore. I think that's how he said it, something like that. But yeah, he used to have a lot of people that supported him that just totally turned on him, especially this year. It's kind of weird. And I see where some people can get upset about some of the things that he's doing right now. I totally get it. I totally understand. But like, to just take a 180 and just hate the guy or to totally disown him, I got to have a really good reason for that. Other than Trump saying a bunch of dumb shit, on X or Twitter or something or on True Social. He's been that way for years. So I can't say that's the case. But I think it's just like, some of his more recent things that he said is really starting to get under people's skin. And lo and behold, this is Tucker. Now he's like apologizing for campaigning. Like, you can't change the past. You know, you did what you did, like, but you don't have to sit there and just say, I regret like everything about it, which is really strange.
He displayed the same lack of loyalty to Miriam Adelson. I mean, that's kind of the question. The only people he's been loyal to are the neocons and his donors.
Okay. Well, that was it. That was it. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like anyway, listen, if you're going to apologize for campaigning for Donald Trump, like, I still can't figure out why, other than like you're having like serious regret because somebody hopefully they didn't pay you to say, God, I hope that's not true. Cause look, at the end of the day, I really like Tucker Carlson. Like I said, we religiously, like, people watched 60 Minutes back in the day. People used to watch like soap operas, like, religiously back in the day. Walter Cronkite, like, he was like the man of news back in the day, right? Like, people watch these guys. Right. And these sitcoms and things like that, people just had like, I cannot wait for so-and-so to come on tonight. I will watch them. You know, for my grandmother, it was Billy Graham. Billy Graham. Nope. We ain't going to turn that TV on. It's like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on a Saturday, Sunday night, whatever. Billy Graham's coming on. It was for my grandmother. It was Billy Graham. For me and where we were at in terms of like, being entertained from a news perspective, it was Tucker, man. Tucker was the guy that we looked up to, because his opening monologues, in my opinion, were legendary. And that's why he got 3-4 million people a night watching him. He was like the most watched dude in the prime time. It was Tucker. And it's for a very good reason. He was very good at what he did. And when he left Fox News, he was still really good. And he was even more opinionated in a lot of the things that he was doing. And he still had very, very good traits about like himself in terms of like, you know, his worldviews on different topics and things. He's just so good at what he's the best news guy out there, right? In terms of personality. And like just recently, like, he just, I don't know, like everybody's turning on Trump. And I'm like, why though? I mean, I know why, but I don't. You know, I know why, but I don't know why. And I really wish I knew why. And when I really think about it, I'm like, God, I hope it's not money. I really do. I hope it's not money. And the more I see people apologize and say all these things like, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that normally don't apologize for things, and I hear them apologize, I'm like, for that? Okay, did you earn a paycheck? Is somebody paying you under the table to say this? Are you? My biggest thing is I hope you're not bought and paid for, man, because listen, at the end of the day, I still like Tucker Carlson. I really do. I think he's a fantastic human being in terms of like journalists. If he was to invite me on a show, I'd go. I would go. Hell yes, I would go. If Joe Rogan invited me on a show, hell yes, I'd go. You know, I just, you know, I try to tune that stuff out, you know. But I just, at the end of the day, I hope he's not bought and paid for. And the more you really think about it, you're like, God, it kind of sounds like they are. But I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. But it's just really strange to hear these guys apologize for it. It really is. Anyway, ladies and gents, that's all I got on my plate here tonight. Listen, you guys are fantastic. I'm going to start making this more of a habit. Going live, posting more videos, and talking about just everything, man. Like I don't know. A lot of people probably don't know this about me. I'm a huge gamer. I love video games. I could talk about like video games and growing up playing video games. Like that's like a passion, a very passion of mine that I like to do in my spare time. Like I love playing video games, and I could talk about that all day long and talk like, you know, I could talk about like horror movies. It's like one of my biggest things is like horror movies. Like, dude, this is what this channel's built for, man, because I have a treasure trove of just thoughts that I could just spew out and throw up to all of y'all. And if you like it, if you agree to it, and you want more of this, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. And turn on those notifications so you don't miss any time I go live or I post a video. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the rest of your night. I wonder if I can, let's end this live stream on something good here. Like a good track, so to say. Let's end it on a good track. Let's end it on Mario, like a Mario type track. Anyway, listen guys. Yeah, I like to end live streams on a good, that's, speaking of video games, this reminds you of Mario Brothers, or set like some sort of like NES days of like, you know, playing Nintendo. That's what that reminds me of. It's great. That's fantastic, man. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thank you so much for joining me here today. And we will see everybody on the next live stream. I'm going to try to come back. Let's see, probably on Thursday. We'll try to come back on Thursday and do another live stream. And I think about two videos out of this live stream today. Yeah. Got about two videos on this live stream. So, again, yes. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, we will see all of you on the next live stream. This is Unofficially IMO, and I am signing off. Have a great rest of your night.